So this is a scene from a music video that I recently shot at a 70s, 80s inspired motel. It's for a band named Beach Weather. And if you don't know them, they have one song that's completely blowing up right now. But in this video, I just wanted to do a quick cinematography breakdown on how I approach lighting this music video and just some of the tips and tactics that I used. I'm going to walk you through how each scene was captured and lit, and at the end, maybe some stuff that I could have done better. So yes, I will be publicly criticizing myself at the end of this video. I'm going to try to show you guys some of the BTS video clips and photos that were taken on set. And let's go straight into it. If I haven't personally met you through the World Wide Web, nice to meet you. I'm Mika, a cinematographer and also a Steadicam operator that specializes in commercials, music videos, and specifically, I've been specializing in backwards shots and no-look shots. So this music video was directed by my friend Kurt, who is a photographer and director, and you guys should go check out her work right now. The simple way to explain the concept for this video is that there's a couple that you see in the video, and we're trying to capture them in multiple settings and rooms that look very similar but kind of act as a different version of their reality. So we capture it from the guy's perspective and the girls, and we shoot them in a happy scene and also a more sad scene where they feel a little bit more disconnected and not together as much. So we mainly captured all the performances and the acting moments in 3 different rooms that were almost identical. And we got to mess around with like trying to replicate very similar shots, trying to stay on the same focal length, same lighting scenarios, to really play on the fact that the 3 rooms are very similar. Because like, how often as a filmmaker do we get to recreate the same lighting or same shot idea in the same exact space? So that was kind of a challenge, a fun challenge in its own, trying to match frames and match movements and things like that. Our goal for the video was to hint to the theme of the song, which is called Trouble with This Bed. You know, it's a little on point when you watch the video, but I'm proud of how it turned out. This would be a relatively tough concept to pull off if you don't have similar rooms, but luckily we had this amazing motel that was already the perfect fit, had the interior design we were looking for, and we just thought it was the perfect location. This music video was shot on my Ursa G2 along with the Zeiss B-Speed lenses. I had the 35 and the 85mm lens, and these lenses are most famously known to be used on Taxi Driver, Shining, Boyhood, just all amazing movies, amazing films. I was channeling that inner Taxi Driver inspo energy to make this look good, I guess. And the other main lens we had was the 12mm full frame Laowa cinema lens that on the Ursa G2, because it's a Super 35, it translates to maybe an 18 or 19mm. In terms of filters, we also had a Schneider confetti filter that just added a little bit of texture in the frame, and it's not as noticeable, but I thought it made a difference, a little bit of a subtle difference that kind of fit the more, little bit of a hazy, a little more blooming in the highlights type of look whenever we had the disco ball like shining directly back into the lens. So let's go into the thinking behind the lighting. My approach for this music video was a little bit less naturalistic, more on the expressionistic side. By that I mean leaning more towards using colors that you wouldn't naturally see with daylight or nighttime. My expressionistic look was mainly focused on the Everything Everywhere rig that we built. In that room, we made sure that that room just had a different tone to it. But all the other rooms were leaning a little bit more naturalistic. You know, sometimes we added a little bit of a red or a blue push through the room just to add a little more color to the frame. Because the rooms had ceilings, we could mount our lights to them, and that approach just made more sense to me since we were just kind of shooting almost like a 270-degree angle of the room where I'm panning with the camera, and it would have been really hard to have lights on a stand. And I think we had plenty of clamps and grip equipment to mount things to the ceiling, so that made it easier to just flip the camera around, get another shot if I needed to, and then not worry about having my gaffer move lights, shift them around, shape them differently. And generally just lighting from above, I really like that look. It's been a look that has become more of an accepted style of lighting over the past, I would say, decade or so with cinematography. We also additionally had 2 more 1x1 light panels that we also mounted to just provide additional fill in different areas of the room. Because the rooms were next to each other, it made the company moves very smooth and easy, and we were just shifting all the gear around from one room to the next. Also, don't forget the disco ball. We were very lucky to have a disco ball in each room that we could just hit with a spotlight, and I just like the extra additional layer of lighting pattern that it added to the scenes, just lean a little bit more into an expressionistic approach. Also, another thing that made the video feel more cinematic was the fact that we had haze on set, and it just helped spread light even further and make the rooms just have a little bit more atmosphere and ambiance. When it comes to exposure and camera settings, I mostly relied on my just daytime white balance to make sure I'm exposing properly for the skin tones. I usually just use my false color or exposure assist on the monitor and rely on that to help me know if there's certain areas in the frame that are underexposed or that just need a little bit more attention. If it's skin tones, I just try to keep it anywhere in the green or the pink zone just to make sure I'm not blowing it out or underexposing it. Okay, time for the most fun part of the shoot, which was trying to replicate the everything everywhere all at once lighting gag, which you can see that the light is moving in a flow pattern through a triangle and creating these different shadows on the character's face, which results in you being able to pay even more attention to the character, seeing the emotions in their face. I just thought it was a super cool lighting trick that we could incorporate into the video. Kurt, the director, and Kevin, the gaffer, both had this idea, and I was really stoked to give it a shot. We set up the Astero tubes in a flow mode on the Astero app and just had it set to a specific color to where it's able to go in the same pattern. And I just set my Ursa G2 to 120 frames per second just so we could slow it down in post and still get that effect that you see in the scene very famously. For the rest of the lights in the room, we had an aperture nova coming in through the window, pushing in through a quarter grid diffusion cloth, and I had also an Astero tube on the left of the frame and another additional light in the bathroom. I think it was a red light or a tungsten light. It was different for 2 different scenes. I just used that light to just add further depth in the shot, try to keep them away as far as possible from the back corner of the wall. So we were kind of almost shooting by the door frame where the bed frame kind of began. So I hope you guys found some of these lighting techniques useful and that you're able to incorporate them into your own videos. So now it's time to look at some of my stuff and figure out what I need to improve on. This main scene that we have with the square walls and the orange sheets, I think overall the haze was too much in this room. I need to bring down the haze. It almost like is a little bit distracting when you first see the frame. So I would probably cut my haze down a little bit just to create a little bit more contrast in the image. With the scenes where the 3 band members are kind of sitting in 2 of the chairs, one's on the bed, there's just a lot of cable wrangling that I needed to do or have had crew take care of it before we started rolling. You can kind of see it in the bottom of the frame, so probably do a better job paying attention to the details in the frame. Okay, for the room that we have the everything everywhere lighting gag going on, I think I needed a little bit more of a push of light coming in from the window just to create a little bit more contrast on the actor's face. The depth in the frame is apparent, but I think the overall ambience of the room could have been lifted. I placed 2 red tubes on the left of the frame that I should have framed out of the shot because they're a little distracting now that you're able to see them in the video. I think a lot of times you're just so caught up with how many shots you need to do, how many moves you need to make, and how quickly you need to stay on schedule the entire day just to make sure that you get what you need for the video. Sometimes as a cinematographer, you forget the little details that you don't always see while you're shooting, but once you're in post, you're like, crap, I should have paid attention. But that's part of the process, you know. I'm constantly trying to evolve. I'm constantly trying to get better at what I do, and putting this on YouTube and letting you know what I messed up on is something that I've also seen other filmmakers talk about and be more honest and not pretend like everything they touch is incredible and they're super good at their job. But this was just like a chance for me to have that version of it for myself and probably be able to see this in a few years and see the growth I've had over the years. So thanks for checking out this video. If you guys want to see more things like this, please subscribe, and if you have any questions, just let me know. I promise I'll reply.